Thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm going to let people kind of trickle in, but as we have people log in, I'm going to run you through our usual welcome, and then we'll get right into our webinar today. So, welcome to today's webinar. We are going to be going through marketing tips and how to embrace your personality into your brand. This is part of our Exploring Entrepreneurship series, where we're exploring through all the different layers of what goes into running a business. So, before we begin, I'd like to introduce any new participants here to what we do. So we are the Regional Business Center. We are a one-stop shop for source of information and guidance on starting, expanding, and operating a business. We are proud to serve Greater Sudbury, Espanola, Manitoulin Island, and all the surrounding areas with services including confidential one-on-one consultations, business plan support, market research, registration, and so much more. So I'm going to note 3 of our main programs for anybody here that's looking for funding and more assistance, well, more hands-on assistance with running their business. So we have Starter Company Plus. This is where, whether you're starting a business or expanding, our part-time training program will set you up for success with a grant of up to $5,000 for your business. This is going to be running in very early 2026. So if you're interested, please go look at our website, go look at the Starter Company Plus, and you can get some more information on what it entails and what you will receive out of such a great program. The next one we have is Summer Company Program. This is for students who are aged 15 to 29 years old. They can receive a grant of up to $3,000 to start and manage their own business over the summer. So oftentimes what we do is that you get the first half of the funding at the very beginning to help you start your business over the summer, and then you will get the other half at the end once you complete the program. As this one is only in the summer, applications will open in 2026. Please stay tuned, follow us online to make sure that you don't miss any deadlines if this is a program that interests you. You can also go on our website, find out more. We have a lot of great examples of our participants from last year if you're looking for some inspiration and making sure that you fit for the program. And then lastly, this one I really want to note because the deadline is actually coming up in just a month. So this is the Business Incubator Program. So if you're a new startup or you have a business idea, but you're looking for extra support, this is a really great program to get mentorship. It's all about training, that one-on-one time with a mentor, networking, and events. This one is not associated to any funding. So while that might be a little bit disappointing, it does mean that anybody who's here not on a permanent residency or isn't a Canadian citizen can apply. You are eligible because there is no funding attached. Now, while there's no funding, it's the mentorship that is really the beneficial part of this presentation, of this program. And you'll even see in our presentation today with Jack how much mentorship can really help somebody get started in their business. And then we don't do any of this alone. So we work closely with the 3 levels of government, which is federal, provincial, and municipal. We also work closely with the 3 local post-secondary schools and all the other private industry specialists. So if you're looking for something like accounting advice for your business, as we are not licensed accountants, we would refer you to one of our collaborators like Baker Tilly. Which, speaking of Baker Tilly, we have a webinar coming up with them in a little bit less than a month. So in November, we have Writing a Business Plan next week, which will be run by Caitlin Thompson, one of our small business specialists. And then November 20th, we have the Smart Tax Moves for Businesses with Baker Tilly. So if you're somebody, you're looking to run a business, or you already are, but you're a little bit nervous when it comes to the taxes and how to do it properly and how to make sure you don't miss anything or miss on any tax exemptions that might be eligible for your business, come to that webinar where we will be able to explain everything that you need. And then lastly, for the end of November, we have strategies to drive sales growth. This is going to be done with Sarah from the Sling Choker Academy. If you're somebody you want to boost up those sales, especially during the holiday season and in the new year, come out to that webinar. And then lastly, I want to remind you all that we have over 25 webinars that are recorded on our YouTube channel. So if you're looking for something that we might not cover today or we might not be covering the next month, have a look at our YouTube channel. We have 25 videos of taxes, content, marketing, bookkeeping, managing a team of employees, everything you could need, all done with guest speakers. So come have a look, go explore, watch a little bit, you'll learn something new. And then if you have any questions that's specific for the Regional Business Center, please feel free to reach out to us. We do free consultations. We can do it online or in person, really anything that you need. That's what we're here to help with. So with that, let me stop sharing my screen here and introduce you to our guest speaker today, Jack Campo. I'll let you kind of give us a little bit of an introduction.
Well, good morning, everybody. And, I own and operate Campo Heating, have been for about 45 years, always lived in Sudbury. And I'm happy to be here today and to have a little chat with some of you. Um, the Regional Business Center is a great group. A lot of great information for those who are looking for help from what I've seen so far. I'm new with them. And there's nothing better than to be able to have mentors to help you in business. We are very fortunate. Sudbury is a strong community based city. There's a lot of good people, great people that are willing to assist and help. And if you're looking at getting into business, take advantage of that because that's how you succeed. And that's how I succeeded. And, this is the finishing part of my today, what I was going to mention, and I'll bring it forward now. But when I started in business 40 some years ago, I was a great technician. I was great with my hands. I had a toolbox. I was 5 years old, and that's how I went through life. I was not a business minded person. I wasn't strong in the accounting side. Computers were only starting up. And my mother wanted me to be educated like the rest of the siblings. So I did take a marketing course, a business course at Cambrian College, but I quickly realized that in order to be successful, I needed to be surrounded with smarter people than me. I mean, I was good at what I knew, but I needed to have people there to help me and coach. And there's nothing to be ashamed of that, to have people that are can help you or like I say, smarter than you are, because that's how you'll succeed. You need the team. If you don't have a team, um, you'll be by yourself, and it's lonely at the top. You need people to be able to support you and help you. So this is what it's all about today, and we'll start with the questions you have.
Yeah, so actually, right before that, just to establish kind of what Jack does with his work and what kind of branding they do, I'm going to show you all one of his commercials he's done a few years ago, and you'll be able to tell in the first like 10 seconds exactly why this webinar is going to be so insightful. So give me just a moment as I set this up.
It's a great day at Campo Heating. Violet speaking. How can I help you?
Good morning. What are you up to today?
Waiting for the next call.
That's great. It's important that we work as a team. What do you have there, Caleb?
One of our new tablets. We've gone paperless.
Fantastic. It's important that we have the best technology to service our customers.
Stop socializing. Let's go to work. Kids these days.
Campo Heating, a family tradition since 1948.
So we can see just by that one commercial how much personality is within the Campo brand. So with that, I'm going to start bringing in my questions. So first question, Jack, what's your process when developing one of these commercials?
Okay, so these commercial, it's something, an idea that, I have both daughters of mine working with us side beside me, and we came up with this idea that it would be great to show customers that we are family oriented company. It's not only about selling products and trying to be successful. We wanted to show them we're like everybody else. I have grandkids and my daughters, and we work together and we enjoy being together. So these commercials, that's how it started about 8 years ago. And it was easier to design the commercial 8 years ago because it was new and fresh. Now it's a little bit more complex because we sometimes run out of ideas. But we're very fortunate because I have actually customers that call us on a regular basis, and they come up with ideas. I had a client that was actually in Florida last year, and he called me from Florida. Says, Jack, I seen the last commercial, and I have an idea. And he gave me an idea on what he thought would be an excellent commercial, and we used it. We also have a great support team with the CTV News Group. And we sit down with them on a regular basis, and we spend about an hour or two coming up with different ideas, what we think would work and not work, and from there, the creative group, designed the commercials. We also hired a company in the U.S. that works with us once in a while. We normally use them once a year to come up with different jingles and stronger commercials. So they would design the radio ads that we use, and from there, then the people at CTV actually do the commercial that would be aired on the news side or on their station. So yeah, it's a team again. If it would be only me, it'd probably be boring commercials. But it's the team that I have. My daughters are really involved. My grandkids now. I mean, the oldest are 12 and 13, so they're getting involved too. And these commercials have been very successful, a lot more than I anticipated. I thought these commercials would have ran for about a year, and here we are. We're in our 8th year running those commercials.
So much. That's incredible. 8 years. So that actually goes into one of my next questions, which is how has the marketing for Campo Heating evolved over the last 70 years of being open?
And again, that's it's amazing when you can go back and see. And I'm glad that you kind of sent me these questions ahead of time, because it made me realize where we've been in myself in the past 40 years. So, like I said earlier on, I did take a business course at Cambrian in the 82, I think it was 81, and I majored in marketing, but in those days, marketing was so simple. In Sudbury, we had 3 radio stations, 1 TV station, 2 newsprint, Sudbury Star, Northern Life, and that was pretty much the end of that. The rest, you had Yellow Page, which was really strong, 1 book, and you had to do your marketing based on that. Uh,
Mhm.
Compared to today, I mean, wow, it's major now. So it was simple in those days. Today, with the added social media and all the other avenues available, it's 4 times more. And it becomes very difficult to see what works and doesn't work, and how much money do you spend. Like us as a company, we always try to spend in between 2% to 4% of our gross sales to go into marketing. Okay. If it's a new company starting off, you might estimate about 8%. okay, because you want to be more aggressive. If you're in the scenario that we're in, we don't need to spend as much, so we can go down to 2, but we try to stay in around the 4% mark, and that works for my industry.
So aside from your commercials, how else do you showcase your business and family values in your marketing?
Um, Branding is extremely important. You have, before you do anything, you got to figure out the brand you want to expose to your customers. So um, we we are definitely, we want to focus on, we're family oriented. Um,
Hmm.
all our trucks, we have over 30 vehicles on the road. They're all red. When you look at other contractors, okay, electrical contractor, plumbers, or most businesses out there, they will drive around with a white vehicle and have some decals on it because
Hmm.
white vehicles are easy to buy. Okay,
Hmm.
the manufacturers make it so that's the only thing that's available. Now, with wrapping vehicle, you can do some great wraps and do a nice job. But what I'm trying to say is make sure you're different. We're the only heating contractor in town with red vehicles. All our vehicles are red, and we all have pretty much the same graphics on it. On the back of our doors, the back door of the vehicle, we try to have a design that some of them have our grandkids when they were older. Some of them have the vehicle design of me and my father. My father passed away when I was young. He was in this industry, but I do have him beside me with both our company trucks. So we show that we've been in business for 75 years as a family tradition. So that is very important. Um, and those are billboards. So you have 30 vehicles driving around Sudbury 8 hours a day, going on calls on streets and that, and neighbors are seeing that. So that is probably one of the strongest marketing point for us. Uniforms have to be consistent too. Um, I it's really important that you try to get co-op dollars from those that you work with. For us in my industry, all the manufacturers normally kick back a co-op based on your purchases with them. However, they will require you to advertise their brand. And because we have been around long enough, most of my suppliers understand that I promote my brand, not their brand, because if I'm successful and I sell their product, they're going to be successful. So again, I'm really concerned of advertising somebody else's brand, because if the marriage doesn't work in the future, you spent a lot of money advertising somebody else that will maybe become your competitor. So be very careful with that. Um, the other things that we do right now is that, again, we're really strong in the TV commercials, which is kind of ironic. Most people don't do that, but we're still catering to the baby boomers. It's a big part of my business, and most baby boomers watch the 6 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news, and 11 o'clock. So we really focus on that. But however, my daughters, because of their age, they don't watch the local news, and they are really strong on streaming, YouTube, Facebook, social media. So my daughter basically takes care of that aspect, and whatever we do on the TV commercial, we do the same thing on the social media side. And we kind of incorporate all that with a little bit, and not a lot, but a little bit of radio commercials. And the reason I say a little bit, because again, it gets so difficult because there's so many different avenues of listening to music in your vehicle. So we do try to support some of our local radio station, and we'll do that in spurts. Like right now, I just signed up for a program for January to March, where we're going to be blasting the media on our radio station to try to incorporate with the rest of it. So again, you try to do a marketing plan. Okay, don't try to wing it, because you'll have people come in and see you on a regular basis to try to sell you something. And sometimes it's tempting, but you need to know how much money you're going to spend during the course of the year. You have to allocate it over the 12 months and see when you need the most advertising and when you don't, and make a plan. And it's really important because, again, you need to be able to measure everything you do. Okay. Um, if you don't do it this way, you will not know if it works or not. You'll know if it works if you're busy and the phone rings off the hook, like I was explaining to you before we went live. We're answering right now about 400 calls a day, so we're doing something right to get the phones to ring.
Yeah. So I want to ask a follow-up question on that. Because you guys do so many different kinds of marketing, like you were talking about radio and the vans and the uniforms, how do you assure the high quality of these marketing campaigns?
Again, like I said, you when you do something, it doesn't matter what you do in your business, you got to be able to come up with a plan, measure it, and see if it works or it doesn't work. So we do the same thing with marketing. The software we have that we utilize to operate our business is very strong, very elaborate system. And with that system, we have about 15 different phone numbers that we can utilize just for our marketing. So if we do a special campaign, we want to see if it's going to work, we're going to assign one phone number just to that campaign and see how many calls actually come in through that phone number. And our software will recognize that, and it will tell us this campaign generated X amount. The other way of doing it is having some code assigned. If you're doing something in the paper or postcards or whatever, you can add a code to your rebate so that when the customer comes in, say, well, I've seen this here and this is the code, so you can track it. Every time we have a customer that calls in for a service, a maintenance, new install of equipment, we have a prompt that comes up, and the CSR has to ask the customer, how did you hear from us? And they cannot go further in the software until you choose a scenario, okay, an existing customer or yellow page or whatever, okay. And again, once a month I can review and see how effective our marketing campaign is. Again, you know we still advertise, not a lot, but a little bit in Yellow Page. And most people say, Yellow Page, what is that? What's a Yellow Page book? I'm sure some people today on this call won't know what it is, or you use it only as a stool to get higher up in the cover because they don't see the value, right? But we still see that there's a group of people that still keep a Yellow Page book beside their phone, and they don't know how to utilize a cell phone to source the phone number. So again, we are trying to get the customers that works best for us, and that's the group of people that we try to cater to.
That's really interesting. I really like the idea of the different phone numbers because I find like that's an issue that some people have where they're going like, how do I rate the success? And with social media, yeah, you can look at your likes and your shares, and it's like, yeah, you have that, but it's how many clients are you actually getting? Like, there's eyes on it, which is really important, but then how many are then going to the next step, which is then calling? I think that's really interesting how you have like the different phone numbers to be able to tell which one is which. So I guess I'm curious to ask, what do you consider to be one of your biggest marketing successes?
Again, the TV commercial have been probably my strongest in my
Hmm.
years, and the reason I say that is, I cannot go to the shopping center for lunch. Some some days I go out there just to clear my head and I'll sit down there, have a coffee or a sandwich, but I can't do that basically because almost every day I'll have somebody come up to me and say, "Hey, Grandpa, how you doing? Where are the grandkids today? Are they doing an install?" Or, which is kind of fun. I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm just saying it's for that to happen, it's because it's extremely successful. Uh, Again, the other marketing part of it is how you see your business. I mean, it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be just the advertising you do, but I see the business, how we want to make sure that the customers are happy. We'll do
Mhm.
whatever we can to make sure the customers are happy. It doesn't, not always successful, but we have a good success rate with that. And that is probably my strongest marketing point, making sure that whatever we do in business, we do it well, we do it right, and we get customer repeat business. And the repeat business is what makes us successful. I cannot, again, somebody told me a long time ago, and I still go by that. uh, I cannot handle all the business in the HVAC industry in Sudbury. It'd be great, but I can't. So I might as well keep the 10% of the business or 15% of the business that want us to do work for them at a reasonable price that they're comfortable with. Those that are shopping, just price shoppers, I do not have that business to offer them what they're looking for because we run like a big business here. We have 50 employees. We have a lot of inventory. We have great educated people to stir our customers, send our customers the right direction, but there's a cost to it. Okay. If somebody is just looking for an in and out cheap installation, that's not the business we offer.
How do you deter those clients then? Because you're looking for the ones that, want something genuine, and the clients that are looking for just a quick thing. How do you kind of like navigate those two relationships?
Well, we won't send anybody away. I mean, at the end of
Mhm.
the day, it's our job to educate them on the value we give them. Okay. I
Mhm.
think the value we offer a customer supersedes, pricing and that. So if we can do a great job in explaining that, we will retain. But an existing customer, we will be closer to a 60% closing ratio, okay, versus somebody who looks at our website and calls in for a price, but a lot of time they won't even call. They'll ask us to email them a price, okay? So we don't even have the opportunity to really sit down with them and show them the value we offer. Well, the closing ratio on those type of application are probably closer to 25%. Okay, so it's not that we don't want their business, but sometimes it's just difficult because we cannot show them what we offer.
When you are able to showcase what you offer, how do you go about it? Because what I see a lot is sometimes people go, "Oh, it's too expensive," and the business owner gets almost like defensive because it's like sometimes they take it as a little bit of like an insult, and then they kind of can explain it in a way that's maybe not super attractive to the client. But then I've also seen business people who are very good at navigating that conversation when people go, "Oh, that's not the price I like," and then they're able to explain that. How does your business kind of like pause, take the time, and then showcase that value?
Well, first off, we have uh, 3 to 5 comfort advisor, depending on the time of the year,
Mhm.
fluctuation. But these people, we actually send them in the customer's home to go do an evaluation. Okay, they will review the whole job, and we have a set of questions they have to ask the customers to see what their needs are. Uh,
Mhm.
In reality, there's two ways of making a presentation. You can do a proper presentation written down with all the information, and that takes time. We'll do a heat loss, heat gain. We'll measure
Mm.
to say, make sure the system we can adapt a new furnace, and we'll show the features of the product, where they're manufactured, the warranties. Um, so when we're all done, the customer gets a document that has probably 4 or 5 pages of information. Or the other way that a lot of people will do, which I will not allow my guys to do, is you can take a business card or a piece of literature and just write a price down. You're looking for a furnace, they might write there $5,000, but you have no idea what you're getting. Us, it's documented. You know what you have. So if you have a full document, uh, you can see the value. Okay, it's like buying a car. You can, just write on a piece of paper the car is worth $5,000, but you don't know the size of engine, the comfort features in it, the warranty, or you can have a nice presentation with all the options available, which gives the value.
Love that. I love that. So I want to go and ask you something we talked about in our introductory meeting was something you pointed out in
You're
your
breaking up. I
oh,
can't hear you. Hello?
hello, hello. No?
Try it now.
Audience, can you hear me? Testing, testing.
Is it just me or?
That's just what was audience. Can you hear us?
Okay, it's better now.
Okay, good. So I wanted to ask you a question. Something that you touched on when we first met was that you pointed out that in your commercials, you don't show any like sales, Black Friday, like you kind of like decided to go away from that. Why is that, and how has that affected your marketing?
Again, our focus was to show that we are a family oriented business here to help the community. Okay. And in that, I think it's been strong. Everybody can advertise, extended warranty on a vehicle or 0% financing, and I'm those are to me are gimmicks, okay? And I don't want to put gimmicks in. I want to show what we do, and we do it well. And again, like I said, my door is normally open here. When you walk in our office, in our building, I'm the first office right beside the entrance, and my door is typically open. A customer can walk in my office and have a conversation. And sometimes we'll have great conversations. Sometimes there'll be customers that's a little bit upset and they want to discuss, and that's all good. I want to hear those just as much. And we make it personable for people. Okay, we want them to leave here and say, that's a great place and the family's great. So it's what we do, and all our commercials are designed around that.
Incredible. Another thing that we talked about earlier is that I'd really like to hear more about the mentors that you had when you started getting into your business.
Okay. Again, like I said, you know, my father died when I was 13 years old. He passed away. He was very young, very sudden, and my father to me was my figure my idol. Okay, that I really, respected, and I wanted to be like him. And that's kind of why I decided to get into this industry, because I wanted to do like him, but I wanted to be better. He was a great tradesman, not so much so a good businessman, and I felt that I could do that. So I worked hard. I was fully licensed in this industry. I was 15 years old, 16 years old. I was working part time in it. And like I said, my mother didn't want me in this industry, so I did go to the college to get a degree, and I gave her the degree when I graduated. And then she said, well, you want to be in business? Said yes. And my mother didn't have a lot of money. And I believe at the time she wrote me a check for $5,000 and said, go do it. And that's how I started. But I realized that I needed support. So I really looked at people to give me, the support I needed. And, after a couple of years, I was involved with a lot of um, groups in my industry, support groups, and I met this gentleman from London, and he was running a support group, and I joined his group, and it was a great, great positive experience. And at the time, he was probably about 55. I was in my 20s, and he was the best mentor I ever had. He passed away a couple of months ago in the spring. He was 92. And even at 92, I would still give him a call and ask him questions because he always had a valuable information for me. And now at my age, where I am now, I'm carrying that torch. I have a support group for heating contractors in Ontario. We have 12 people in the group right now. I meet with them 3 times a year, and we spend a day just talking about issues. If they have financial questions, I can review that with them, or marketing. And we try to work together. It's not always me trying to help them. Sometimes they have great ideas and I listen to it. But don't be shy to ask, because there's a lot of people out there that have a wealth of information, and it's free. Okay, a lot of times you don't have to pay for it, just like what I'm doing today, and we do it because we want to give back to the community.
Exactly. Okay, so with that, I'm going to open the floor up to any questions from the audience. If you have any questions for Jack, feel free to put it in the chat. It can be broad, it can be something very specific to your business, whatever you choose. I'm not going to be sharing any information about the businesses themselves, but we're here to give advice, and so is Jack. So while you guys think of your questions and type them in the chat, Jack, is there anything else that you would like to add? Is
Well,
there anything that I haven't touched on yet?
don't ask me any question about golfing or fishing, because I don't have time for that, and I don't enjoy that aspect. So,
So Vince, I see you have your hand up. Because we're a webinar, we're not going to be unmuting anybody. So if you have a question, if you could please put it in the chat, and then I will read it out for everybody. Okay, so no fishing, no golf. So, um, everybody's always curious to find out about kind of like the work-life balance of a business owner. How do you balance your own, and how has it changed over the years? Because I'm guessing, like, when you started, it's very, very different to what that would look like now.
yeah, when I started, I mean, you know, my wife and I, when we got married, we did not have a lot of money. Okay, we were pretty poor. I mean, I brought pop bottles back to the store to have enough money to buy a pack of cigarette once in a while. But again, uh, we were determined. My wife and I, we worked hard, and we pushed to make sure that we achieved the goals that we had. And I still work with my 1 year goal, my 5 year goal, and my 10 year goal. And I'm 64, and I still believe in that. And I think you cannot go through life if you don't set goals, whether it's personal or in your business. And before, well, I was fortunate because my wife managed the family, the kids, and that. She was great at doing that, and I wasn't as good in that aspect. So I went out and worked, and for me, there was nothing for me to work till 11 o'clock at night. I don't recommend that, but that's what I did when I started. Another thing I've learned through the years: if you can't do it in 5 days, don't try to do it in six, because you should be able to do it in 5 days. But now the difference is that I have the family involved. Okay, my wife is
Mhm.
still involved. I have my two daughters. I have my son-in-law. I have the grandkids, working part-time here. And the key question, the key aspect with that is that when we gather together, there's no talk about the business. I will not
Yeah.
allow the family to discuss something at the table. If, Thanksgiving we had our Thanksgiving dinner. We don't talk about the business issue. It's a family related issue. That's what it's all about. So you need to have a balance in your life. Okay. You need to have your family life. You have to have your business life. You have to have your friendship with your other people that part of your circle. So you need to determine that and make sure that stays in balance. If it doesn't stay in balance, you'll have problems.
I really like the not talking about business at the dinner table because I was going to ask about that because it's hard when you work with your family and then you go home to your family. And it's easy to just keep the conversation you were having at work and keep going at home. So having that boundary of like, there's a time and place for both. Dinner table isn't that.
And
So
and
we have.
it does happen, but you got to
Mhm.
be determined that you'll say, okay, this is great there, but not today. We'll finish that tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a question from Vince. He's wondering if you want if to grow his business, what is the best way? By TV or social media or other ways? For example, expanding services to an existing customer.
Again, you got to determine who is your customer. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the main difference, because based on the demographic of the people that you're trying to get, there's
Mhm.
different marketing programs for them. Like I said, we strongly push our TV commercial because a big part of our customers are baby boomers, so they're in their 60s and 70s. They still watch the local news, but
Mhm.
depending on the product that you have, it might be completely different. So you need to kind of figure out your demographic of who,
Mhm.
and from there you will figure out. You'll have to source out which media works the best.
I'm also going to point out for you, Vince, based off your question, is also looking at Campo Heating, while they do commercials for the boomers who like to watch the news, it's not limiting yourself to just that because eventually those clients are going to age and they're going to go off to retirement homes, and then you're not going to be left with any baby boomers. You're going to run out. So, Campo Heating, he was talking about this earlier that they do the commercials, but they also do radio, and then the social media aspect is kind of like for that younger generation that's coming in because they're not watching the news. How do you get new clients? Well, you have to go look at what are the new clients on, which is the social media part. So while TV works really great in some aspects, it's what Jack's saying of like you really have to look at what is your demographic using? How do you like present to them? But then there's always that like you want to be taking in new clients. You want to make sure you're bringing in new people and having that conversation in the right places. So, like for right now, with the rise of social media, a lot of those are happening on socials. But even then, look at how old your demographic is because different demographics will be more on Facebook or more on Instagram or more on LinkedIn. So, you want to put your energy where it makes the most sense. So with Jack, it was the commercials and the radio ads, and then the little things, the uniforms, the trucks. Those are small things that make such a big difference. I totally agree with like the red trucks driving around and there being like 30 of them. It's the same example as lately, a few months ago, Aaron's taxis, they did a new wrap on their taxis. And I drive around and I can spot an Aaron's taxi easily now because they look so different from everybody else. So it's the same idea with the vehicles. If you have a vehicle, branding it is great because it's a driving billboard. You're driving around, you've got that big phone number on it, people are going to see it. But then also that last piece about how, Jack, like you were saying, how a lot of people do a white van. So you wanted to be different from that. Like, okay, we're going to do a van. We all know this, but how can even things that are a little bit more easy can be done in an interesting, creative, fun way so that it's not just another white van with another phone number on the road. It's something that stands out and is noticeable, and that helps so much with your branding.
And to add to that, like I explained, first of all, you have to figure out your budget. Okay.
Hmm.
And 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, or even further than that, we used to spend a lot of it mostly on TV commercials. Now, the TV commercial, the allocation is probably 60% of the value in TV commercial and 40% is on social media, the same dollar value we used to do 8 years ago. Okay, so there's a big part that's going more in the social media and again, as you said, if you don't try to get the younger people on your side, you're going to run out of customers at one point. So you always have to be looking at trying to get that new customer. So your budget has to be elaborate enough that you are focusing on all media. But again, track it, because if you're going to spend a dollar on something that doesn't work, you got to spend it somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely. And another thing too is like the same commercial might not apply the same way on TV than it does on social media, right? So like TV, everything is horizontal. Social media, everything is vertical. So you can't always just take the same commercial and recycle, recycle, recycle on different platforms, because sometimes it's like that commercial was made with this intent for this demographic for this platform. Another question is, this is from Vince. He says, I'm new in Sudbury in Canada. I've worked for Honeywell building automation solutions and security. I want to know, is it possible to get a mentor from Mr. Campo or partnership to expand smart home and security solutions and solar panel?
Okay. um, I'll say yes to that. I mean, again, my door is always open. I mean, if you want to give me a call at one point to, review what you're doing, I'm open to that. I won't manage your company, but I'll give you some ideas and see what I think. Uh, this time of the year is a little bit more difficult for me because we do about 80% of our business in 4 months. From September to Christmas is my busiest time of the year. After that, it really slows down. So, if you want to give me a call and we can have a chat and have, lunch one day and we can talk, yes, I'm open to that. How much help I can give you now is limited, but as we progress in the new year, I might be able to help you a little bit.
There you go. And if you're looking for something more in depth, Vince, as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we also have the incubator program. The deadline is December 1st. So if you're interested in getting mentorship and one-on-one help, we also have that program. That one will get you, it comes with training and workshops as well. And you have access to our network and going to events and getting discounts on certain events. So mentorships is super important. It's about, having somebody that can help you as things are happening, right? Like you had a great success, you have somebody to motivate you, celebrate with you, take you to the next step. Something doesn't go well, you have somebody to vent to that can help you find those solutions. So thank you for asking the question, Vince. Um, and then if that's all the questions, I'll give it another 2 minutes, but I think we're going to get to the end of our webinar. I want to thank you again so much, Jack. You're just like a well of knowledge when it comes to this. I really appreciate your years of experience as well. Being in the same industry for so long and building it the way that you have is really inspiring. And it's fun to see something become a Sudbury staple. It's fun to see a small business become big and then become like a staple in Sudbury, right? We only have so many places that we can say are like truly ours. And it's fun to be able to say we have something that is a family run business with your commercials, with your grandkids and the personality in it. And it's just, honestly, it's like a palate cleanser compared to everything else. Because everything else, like you said, is sales and rebates and discounts and this, that it's nice to get something with such a different tone. And I find like that's what makes it stand out and that's what showcases the value so well. So with that, thank you so much, Jack. If you guys are interested in finding out more, go check out Campo Heating. They have more ads on their website and more information. If you're looking to ask a few questions, you can reach out to Jack. And if anything, apply to our incubator program and make sure to keep inquiring with the regional business. Whether you're starting or expanding or just going through the motions and need help, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you no matter where you're at with your business. Jack, any last words?
Yes. Well, thank you very much for today. And again, to elaborate on that, what you guys, what your group is doing, that's the first step. Okay. By all means, you can give me a call, but I think your group has a lot more to offer than what I have because I know my business and what I do, and you're connected to a lot more people. So try to see what the regional business center can give you. And, as a final thought, just remember this: success isn't built alone. You need people to help you. And that's where mentorship and the community can help you. Surround yourself with strong, positive individuals. Stay humble and involved, because don't try to overpower others. Being humble is probably the most beneficial thing. And when your mission and your heart aligns, okay, success will follow. So make sure that you put that together. And thank you very much.
That's beautifully said. Thank you so much, Jack. And everybody, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.